It's early days, but panic is already setting in at Arsenal after that frustrating 1-0 draw with Brighton last time out. This weekend, Arsenal visit the London Derby, Tottenham Hotspur, the fiercest in London. Now they face each other after Arsenal come away disappointingly with a 1-0 draw to Brighton at a time when everybody thought they started well after 2 games. But after 3 now, the early pace being set by Manchester City and Liverpool Football Club, Arsenal fans are beginning to panic. Is it justified? Is it the time to panic? What went wrong? Because no one, if you are Arsenal, expected that after a wonderful finish to last season, a time when we all think, I do believe, Arsenal still a team that we have to look to so much in as far as pushing Man City, including this season, is concerned, it's justifiable that the fans are getting jittery. After 9 points for Liverpool, 9 points for Man City, just 7 for Arsenal, no one wants to see that distance being created this early. So what went wrong? The 1-0 draw to Brighton. Frustrations. Declan Rice being red carded. Of course, controversially, we must add. Did Arsenal do enough to warrant 3 points from that game? Or was Brighton, who themselves had started the season well, pulled away a warranted 1-0 draw? It depends on which side you look at this. I believe at this time we have to sit and think about Arsenal, because that's what we do here at Seniors World. I welcome you to again have a deeper analysis of what's going on, because this season, so much is at stake. A lot of expectation. In some quarters, frustration. That cannot be the story at Arsenal, who think they've strengthened, and indeed they have. Raheem Sterling, out of nowhere, joining them there. Free signing, you could say, but at 29 years, is that the signing they needed? Is that the position they needed to beef up? You've got to think so, because Merino as well, coming from Real Sociedad in Spain to join them in midfield. So strengthening a very critical department there. Central midfield, attacking midfield, you could say stroke forward. Because there is a confusion now, and the question we must all ask ourselves, is Mikel Arteta getting it right with selection of the starting 11? Because the stars are there. The talent is there. The players are there. The quality is there. And in fact, he has added. Question now, is he choosing it right? Let's start with the defense, where the problem area continues at left back. Should it be Zinchenko or the fit again Timber? Remember, Kylian Tierney, who was also an option at left back, has now moved on. He's young, he's moved on. Perhaps there are too many there. The question is, should Timber have started ahead of Zinchenko? When the two are fit, who deserves to start ahead of the other? And that seems to be an area to actually fix, because that brings a kind of instability, indecision there at the back, where Arsenal were very, very solid last season. But that's not the only area where Arteta must get it right in terms of selection. Further ahead, we begin from the midfield, where now he has added another star midfielder, Merino. Very good as a defensive holding midfielder, but also perfect almost when he transits and joins in forward play as an attacking midfielder. Do you choose him, or do you choose Thomas Partey, who played against Brighton, had his contribution to the goal that they scored? Because remember, it was his long ball received by, of course, who else? Bukayo Saka. Controlled well, and as we know, he did what he does best, assisting their Havertz for the opener. But Partey, his game was questionable in that game against Brighton. Now he has to justify whether he is to be selected ahead of Merino, who now says he's ready and he wants to be considered for selection. What happens because now Raheem Sterling has also joined in the fray. He's 29 years old. We know what he can do. Is he still the player he was? We know he was much younger when he left Liverpool, and that's when he was beginning his career. At City, where he spent 7 years, what didn't he do? He did everything, winning 4 championships and, of course, a couple of FA Cups there. Having his part in the goals that were scored, in the assists as well. He was one of the key players in those 4 seasons when they were winning things back to back. Now, at Chelsea, they don't think much of him. They thought he was more of what? A disadvantage. Muddy, perhaps not a team player because he expects to play every single game. When that doesn't happen, or when it didn't happen, he became very unsettled, very uncomfortable. And he speaks his mind. He's a player who speaks his mind. In the end, a fight with Maresco, the coach there at Chelsea, the decision was always going to be one. It's either me or you. It had to be Sterling to leave. Arteta, not losing any chances. You've not spent the money. A quality player is available. You think he can add value to you. He takes him up. And Arsenal fans are not decided. Was it a good decision to sign Sterling or not? We'll find out. But he's there. He's quality. One of the best players for English national team in the last 5 years as far as I'm concerned. Their best player at the Euros 2020. 3 goals, 2 assists, and a standout player. I believe he also made it in the team of the tournament that particular time. And he scored, I think, about 30-something goals. Well, in 11 seasons as a niche English player. Not many attacking midfielders or winger, if you want to call him a winger, have scored that many for England. But he has. So what do you make of the signing for Sterling here? Because now the problem is going to return. How do you select that team? Further up front, we have a question of Trossard and Martinelli. Against Brighton, it's Trossard who started. He didn't come off very well. In fact, it was disappointing. We know what he can do when he comes off the bench, Trossard. He loves to play from the wing, the left. When he drifts to the center, he always finds the spaces and he knows where the goal is. But in Arsenal, where he found many stars, unlike Brighton where he left 2 seasons ago, he's playing alongside other superstars. And you sense from the way he approaches the game that he's not confident enough. It's almost as if he's waiting for someone to tell him something. He doesn't do it as though he's dictating his own game. He looks to the others. He finds difficulty in deciding where to run, where to meet that ball, whether to take a shot or dribble. Sometimes he hurries his play. Sometimes he takes his time. Thankfully, at the right time, especially last season, he would come in and save Arsenal from difficult situations. He scored 12 goals, league goals. In fact, he was the 3rd leading scorer for Arsenal last season. But what do you make of him? Because when Arsenal need that odd goal, he's been coming, especially from the bench, and scoring the odd goal. Now, do you start him or you start him on the bench? Martinelli. Do you start Martinelli as a starter in the first 11 or does he come off the bench? And that's a debate that won't be settled now. But from me, Martinelli and Trossard, who starts for me should really not be a debate. I think Martinelli, in terms of quality, is better quality. His pace, his industry, his tirelessness. And in terms of the danger he poses to defenses, Martinelli is scary to any defense. His trickery, his dribbling, his pace, his turn of pace. When he's in the mood, Martinelli, he's difficult to defend against. When he starts, he will run a defense tired. Yes, he can rush his play. Yes, he misses sometimes obvious or simple goals from the viewer's point of view. But is that good enough? I wonder. Well, Arsenal is facing a situation now where Arteta must decide his first 11. If he can sort that one, I think Spurs, who come next at the weekend, should be easy meat. Since Arteta came and joined Arsenal, Spurs have hardly got anything against him. 3 defeats and a simple draw in the last 2 seasons. That's what Spurs have managed against Arsenal. And this Arsenal team wants to put something right that went wrong against Brighton. They are visiting, yes, Spurs away, But Spurs also, the last time out, they lost to Newcastle 2-1. Yes, they lost away from home, but lately, games in the Premiership don't really depend on home or away. It's how you prepare, it's how good you are. Arsenal must fix this. In a derby that they've not been doing badly recently, they know they have to keep in touch with Liverpool and Man City, who are setting the pace. Can they afford to lose? Probably not. Declan Rice getting a card there, a red card. Does it affect him? Will they miss him if he's not available? Now, questions like these will still come and they'll continue to come. But for me, Arsenal, what is the problem now? It's not quality, no longer. It can't be. They have far too much quality. I think for me, at the moment, the problem that Arteta has is deciding the consistent starting team. Who are those 11 players that must start every game? With the quality he has, with the option he has, getting it right will be key. At defense, he has a problem choosing between Timber and Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko should start. In midfield, he has a problem deciding Merino has joined. Is it Merino or Thomas Partey? I personally think when he's settled, Merino should start. He's more complete. He's a winner. He's technically very good. Up front, should it be Trossard or Martinelli? I think Martinelli all the way should always start. Sterling, should he play? Should he come from the bench? I think for me, going forward, Sterling, when fit, when he's available, he should squeeze a position there and start in that place. So for me, it's about deciding that first team. If Mateta can decide that, if he can start now, not to lose the confidence, but to determine that constant 11, choosing the first 11 is going to be the key for Arsenal this season. And against Spurs, getting it right will make the difference. So now, I'll give it to Arsenal. That is going against Spurs. But who knows what happens? For me, it's about the team that starts from Mikel Arteta. And that's my last word. This is Senior's last word. I'm all dreams for Senior. Goodbye.